At the end of the day, I gave this little guy an opportunity. He should be thanking me. I'm paying him. I'm his boss. He reports to me, and I'm going to fucking son him on November 14th. So fuck you, little man.
You paying me? Are you paying me?
Yeah.
100%? 100%. Facts?
Correct.
Yes? Correct?
Correct. I'm your daddy.
You got a mohawk, bro.
Gervonta.
Remember that. You got a mohawk.
You tattooed your name on your forehead so you wouldn't forget, you dumbass.
That's not my name, dumbass. That's my daughter's name, dumbass. My son's name, dumbass. Hey, again, you got a mohawk. You fucking clown.
The boxing community slammed Jake Paul versus. Gervonta Tank Davis talks as a shameless cash grab, saying it's pure business. A flashy cash grab in boxing and insisting Tank should face real elite opponents like him instead.
Maybe he'll fight Jake Paul instead. What do you think of that?
I think that's terrible.
Why?
I mean, I get it because at the end of the day, it's the money business, and you want to make the most money, but from what I'm hearing, he can make more money in a fight with me, and if that's the case, why not fight me?
While Stevenson noted that he respected and gave Paul some credit for improving in the boxing game, he said it was essential to remember that Gervonta Davis was on a different level. With elite experience, eye-popping speed, and knockout power, Davis, as Stevenson said, would overwhelm and outclass Paul from the first bell, hype or no hype.
Think he beats Jake Paul?
Do I think he beats Jake? Yeah. I mean,
There's a huge size advantage, though.
it is, but I think Tank got the skills to make sure he come out on top.
Do you think that Jake has gone better?
Yeah, I think actually Jake got tremendously better from the time frame that he started till now. And in the right situation, I also could see him become a world champion.
Really?
Yeah.
The truth among all this is the significant disparity in class and pedigree between the two fighters. Gervonta Tank Davis is not simply a star boxer. He is a 3-division world champion with a long amateur career, years of experience with significant fights, and a record full of fights against recognized opponents. He is pound for pound one of the best in the game and has proven himself at the world-class level with his explosive punching power and ring IQ, putting the brakes on established names time and again.
The thing with like, okay, the fans, like it's not really fans it's not fans that really understand the sport.
It's casual
You know
fans.
what I'm saying? Yeah, like they don't really understand the sport. They just, okay, I like this person, so I'm gonna go against this fighter. Or I'm gonna go against every other fighter but this fighter right here. That's what, you know? But if you just go look at nigga that fights, bro, you could tell, like, it's not even though it's a waste. Till y'all prove yourself to, you feel me? That's what, to me, till niggas start proving that self, like, all right, bet he's a threat, then all right, cool, I'll fight him.
Veteran trainer Jeff Mayweather joined the conversation of skepticism, pointing to a different, much more glaring disparity: size. He described the matchup as crazy, asserting Tank Davis is extremely bigger than Jake Paul, and that they should not even be in the same weight conversation. For Mayweather, it's not just experience, it's physics. Together, Stevenson blooming the fight and Mayweather's blunt analysis display the same narrative, a narrative built on hype as opposed to a competitive reality.
It's kind of weird because Jake Paul is extremely bigger than Tank, and I mean, but with it being a exhibition, it makes sense. It's fine. He got a big name.
Mayweather emphasized that the discrepancy isn't just apparent, it's enormous, pushing nearly 90 pounds between the two men at their respective fighting weights. In his opinion, that disparity makes a sanctioned fight just plain stupid. He said an exhibition could be the definition of entertainment, but a fight under the agreed upon rules? He noted unfair to the point of stupidity.
That he's gonna be fighting, but I mean, it really makes no sense because he's gonna be weighing over 200 and some pounds. Tank's gonna probably be weighing maybe at the most 147, 150. So I don't even understand why the fight is happening.
The mere thought of Jake Paul against Gervonta Davis has created skepticism and flat-out mockery rather than intrigue. Fans, fighters, and analysts are simply shaking their heads, and that's remarkable in a time when headline-weaving crossover fights usually win the race for hype, because in this case, the backlash has been louder than the hype.
Gervonta Davis just posted that he would beat the brakes off of you if you guys fight.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be down. Let's run it. Like, I'll be super, super down. I don't know if
Gervonta needs Jake Paul. Let's be clear, right?
Is there a height limit in boxing?
Daniel Cormier, a two-time UFC champion and a professional mixed martial arts commentator, boiled the discussion down to a simple truth. For Cormier, the discussion is really quite straightforward. It boiled down to the most essential and decisive arguments that can be made in the realm of combat sports: size and weight. No matter how many accolades Jake Paul has earned as a boxer, or how talented he may be in the ring, the real gap between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis is weight and size. And so, for Cormier, the match has always started at a lack of fairness. It is exceptional to see a small group of boxing purists and two seasoned MMA veterans speak with one voice. This is not competition, it's a mismatch. While Tank Davis may be a tough opponent,
we were yelling so much about him fighting someone, fight somebody your size. His next opponent is by far the most credentialed guy ever fought actively in his prime. There's one problem. He fights at 135 pounds. He fights at 135 pounds.
Jake Paul is, after all, just a YouTuber turned boxer with a resume that includes some washed MMA veterans and some middle-tier professionals. He trains hard, but the class disparity is monumental. A Gervonta fight is more of a star-studded circus than an actual competitive matchup. For what it's worth, even Jake's brother Logan seems skeptical. Instead of being a hype man, Logan frankly cautioned that Gervonta Davis is not a stunt to be built around. He's a world-class champion with heavy hands and world elite level experience. Logan offered this comment with a protective tone, not as someone trying to create motivation to promote the fight. In fact, Logan implied it is a much larger risk to Jake. Then he thinks it is a circus that ends way before entertaining.
This is a dangerous fight for Jake. Gervonta's technical expertise, his speed, his precision, the fact that he's a counter striker are dangerous facts that make me think that Jake's really got to lock in for this one. On the contrary, if Gervonta feels a couple big Jake Paul shots, it's going to be detrimental.
I think this is going to be one of those ones that gets a real good racial split. I think it's going to be some real black versus white shit, dude.
Critics continue to point out the same obvious point. This proposed matchup is a mismatch in every aspect: ability, size, and context. Jake Paul fights up at cruiserweight, and Gervonta Tank Davis fights between 130 and 140 pounds. That's not a small difference. That's a massive divide between weight classes. Michael Bisping was blunt when he weighed in. The former UFC champion said a real fighter tests themselves against someone they actually worry about. A fighter that forces them to train harder and has a real possibility of losing. Bisping said instead, Paul is targeting a man who is much smaller than him. Bisping said, anywhere else, that wouldn't be sport, it would be bullying. Respected voices across combat sports share the same opinion. This is not a brave challenge, but rather an unbalanced spectacle pretending to be a bout.
Against someone that keeps you up at night, against someone that gets you out of bed in the morning to go for a run because the fear of them beating you down is real. Not going up against someone that is so small. If you were to go up to this guy in a bar and try and start a fight with them, people would look at you and say one word: whoa, 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 stop being such a bully. Leave him alone. You are way bigger than this guy. And that's clearly what we have here.
Michael Bisping reinforced his stance, highlighting that Jake Paul already has a loss marked on his record against Tommy Fury, and he's attempting to chase someone like Gervonta Davis. Bisping stated that this is not simply a mismatch, it's a comedy, a disgrace, the behavior of a bully boy, not a fighter.
When you're a boxer that's 6'1", that's only had one loss on the record, of course, Tommy Fury, doesn't want to face him again, picking on a guy that small would be laughable. It would be embarrassing, okay? It's straight up bully boy bullshit.
Former UFC contender Mike Perry joined in when asked about the rumors as well. Perry condemned the matchup and escalated the matter, asking if Paul even had a heart for boxing. To Perry, Jake's constant calling out of guys that are lighter and smaller than him is not legitimate competition, just a need for more headlines and hype on the backs of the gullible people who take them seriously. A desire for fame, not in the spirit of an actual fight. Combined, their words echo the growing consensus on the matter. This proposed fight is much more spectacle than sport, and the combat world is not interested.
Jake is big, Tank has a lot of skill, but I don't think he's the same Tank that we saw the most incredible knockouts. We saw him, I mean, Lamont Roach performed great. They went to draw, and, you know, I just don't know. And Tank walked away. I don't know if he loves it enough to beat a guy who outweighs him by 80 to 100 pounds.
Sean Porter provided a straightforward rationale for why many boxing fans are frustrated by the potential for a Gervonta Davis-Jake Paul fight. He likened it to the way American football has evolved. For the sake of player safety, the sport has cut back on violent actions, even with some modern rules in effect, while boxing has been unwavering with its original identity rooted in real high-level competition, even with the addition of safety protocols. This tradition, he stated, is exactly why a circus fight like that bothers the sensibilities of his peers who have been around the sport longer than Jake Paul has been on social media.
People upset real hardcore boxing fans, but you know what about boxing? I like when it's all said and done and when you guys go off, they go into the next man. Yeah. So if y'all can make a big payday, go get that payday. The sport of boxing don't love you. And that's the problem with this sport. It's like what Jake Paul did, man, it's crazy, but people getting paid off of it.
Yeah.
So if he can call any one of y'all out and y'all can get that payday, I say go get it, baby.
Comes to boxing fans, there's an essence that comes with this sport, and it's an essence that hasn't been lost, unlike other sports. For an example, with football, we come from the hitting days.
Yeah.
Can't hit nowadays. You know what I mean? So boxing hasn't lost its essence. You know, they're trying to make it safer and, you know, all those sorts of things. But there's still this pureness to boxing that really doesn't exist in sports anymore. But it's still there with boxing. I think that's why people have such a problem with this kind of move from Tank Davis.
Even with all the criticism, you can't deny that a Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight will get plenty of attention. Paul has demonstrated the ability to engage younger, digitally savvy fans and has turned his social media following into one of the biggest commercial machines in combat sports. The star power alone ensures that there will be headlines and pay-per-view purchases. TalkSport analyst Spencer Oliver offered a fair appraisal. He said that in terms of raw skill, Davis could be one of the few fighters who could show Paul up, even giving size up. Oliver also noted how peculiar and concerning the match would be for traditional boxing, a sport with competitive parity and weight classes. It may sell, but it also presents a conundrum for traditionalists.
I think I fancy my chances. I think Gervonta Davis actually beats him as well. He's one of the pound for pound best fighters in the world at lightweight, but it's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? It's like you got a guy of 5'5" boxing a guy of 6 foot plus. Cruiserweight, yeah, it's just all a little bit odd. I thought if they're going to do an exhibition, perhaps Jake should have picked someone more his size. Look, his last fight against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Was at cruiserweight. Chavez Jr. was a former world champion at middleweight himself, and that sort of made sense. And it was a good win for Jake Paul. You know, he come out there and he beats an ex-world champion. He gets a little bit of credibility, and you go, right, now you're heading in the right direction.
Adding on, Nate Diaz entered into the discussion of a possible Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight and did not hold back. The MMA veteran pointed towards the clear size difference, stating there's no way to look at it like a real boxing match because Davis is so much smaller. However, Diaz was not throwing shade at either man. He confessed that from an entertainment perspective, it could be something fun for fans, something crazy enough to turn some heads.
I gotta ask you, Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis. Does Davis have a chance?
Gervonta is a great boxer, but he ain't gonna be.
So you got Jake Paul by knockout, or?
No, I don't got anybody, but I don't think
he's just too small.
It just
I don't want to beat up somebody that small. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying?
What do you think of the fight?
I don't want to lose to somebody that. There's no point in the fight.
And that's exactly why promoters will not be able to dismiss it. A fight, putting a pound-for-pound boxing star up against the biggest crossover YouTuber, is a pay-per-view instant. It's an event that breaks viewership records, turns heads, and hits the headlines due to its newness and absurdity. After all, for the business of boxing, controversy is money, and this fight is pure gold. However, not everyone is happy. Veteran trainer Lamont Roach Sr. said he was blindsided by the conversation, insisting that he and his team thought that they were next up to fight Davis, and perhaps had a verbal agreement to fight next.
It's very surprising to see that announcement, given that we thought we should have had the fight for him next, but you know, that's the business of boxing, man. Stuff like that takes place, and you got to see what you're going to do going forward with it, you know what I'm saying? It's unusual, you know what I'm saying, because we had an agreement, so we'll see how that plays out, though.
Lamont Roach Sr. expressed clear frustration, saying his team had trained for months through multiple delays only to watch the opportunity vanish. He called it a blow not only for his fighter, but for the sport, and he argued that the promoter may rationalize it due to money, but that doesn't make it the right way to operate in the sport. KSI similarly called out the excitement of a fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis. In promoting his own fights against Raja Jackson and Dylan Dennis, he dismissed the idea as an outright cash grab, and that Paul is successful because of controversy and slipping further from real competition. Both responses stress the same thing. Underneath the headlines of a mega event are broken promises and the growing uncertainty about boxing's priorities.
Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis.
Oh, I don't care. I don't think anyone cares, man. No one cares. No one cares.
So what do you think? Would a matchup like this bring new life and attention to boxing, or would it damage the sport's reputation? Who would you back Jake Paul with his size and celebrity power, or the elite skill and experience of Gervonta Tank Davis? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let's get a real debate going. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more updates, analysis, and behind the scenes stories from the world of combat sports, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new fight breakdown or major boxing update.